Hey guys, welcome back to another video. So this week's video was supposed to be out about a week ago. Despite my planning and strategizing, the weekend project turned into a way longer project. It was just more than I anticipated. There were so many mistakes that I did in this bathroom makeover, and I'm going to discuss how I took this standard rental bathroom and how I turned it into a stylish modern space shown over here. And I'm grateful for your support. You guys have been amazing, and I'm looking forward to the next 200 and so on and so forth. So with no more further ado, let's get into the bathroom makeover. Working with epoxy in two different forms, the liquid and the spray form, and I'm going to be trying to create a marble vanity from a Formica vanity that I have here. I ended up fixing a ton of mistakes, having to do way more steps than anticipated, but I'm happy with the end results, and I hope that you find this video informative, inspiring, and that you will go out and try some of these DIY projects and make some mistakes and learn a lot in the process. So let's go over some of the things that I did and what I learned from doing the things that I did. I wanted a cute, modern, renter-friendly kind of option that was good for my budget and for my scales. And since I have worked with resin or epoxy on a smaller scale before, the bathroom vanity used to look like this one, like the kitchen counter, before I did epoxy the first time. However, my first attempt in 2019 was only nice for a few weeks, because at some point it started stripping and I didn't get that hard glazed look that marble has. Now, the techniques that I'm showing in this video, I will be pouring epoxy. I watched a lot of epoxy pouring videos, and I really liked the Life with Queenie version, so I'm going to be using that, and I'm going to be linking her video in the description as well. And I'm excited and I'm grateful for your support. You guys have been amazing, and I'm looking forward to the next 200 and so on and so forth. So with no more further ado, let's get into the bathroom makeover. The hardest and most enjoyable part of the project was the vanity. Like I said, I'm gonna do a whole video about the process, so stay tuned for that. I wanted to create a marble look for a bargain, and the research that I did led me to an epoxy pour type deal. Now, after watching numerous hours of bathroom makeover videos, I got my little Visa card and I ran up to Jeff Bezos and I was like, take my money, daddy. Okay. I had a look in mind, and I went to Pinterest, I gathered some pins, and I was ready to tackle the hard stuff. Now, two things happened after my shopping spree. One, I got the most severe muscle spasms I've ever had in the 10 years that I've had them. I thought to myself, okay, that means I'll be down for 3 days, maybe a week at most. I was down for 2 weeks. And then two, I thought that this would be a weekend project. Girl, I was so wrong. So I learned some really tough lessons doing this project, working with the medium that I did, and mixing the epoxy, curing it, making sure that it doesn't nothing gets stuck in it. I was telling my girlfriend, I was like, if anything gets trapped in it, it's like fossilized for the rest of the time you have that countertop. So it's almost like you want to stand over it and make sure nothing falls, no hair, no insects, anything. It's a mess. Ultimately, this is the gist of the technique. You want to sand and smoothen your counter, and then you want to mix the epoxy and the hardener according to the instructions that you're given. It's usually 1-to-1, and you want to stir and stir and stir, not picking up the stick, or else you create air bubbles. The first time I did it, I had so many air bubbles. It was a mess. Now, once you've poured your epoxy, you're going to go in and you want to smoothen it out, make sure it's usually self-leveling, but if your surface isn't level, then of course you want to move it towards the end or towards the edges so that it's pouring down and it's covering everything that it's supposed to cover. Now, you want to leave it. I tinted my epoxy according to the video that I was watching. I used the white paint to tint mine, and you'll see that in the video, in the vanity video that I'm gonna put out sometime next week. Now, once you pour it, you level it out, you just want to leave it. So now you want to put in the veins, and that's you tint the paint and then you turn it into veins. You just pour it on there and you smush it in there with the brush or whatever style you want to use. Some of the times I was using my fingers because I had to go back in and do some fixing and stuff like that. People would walk by the vanity and get stuck to it. It was a whole ass mess. So it's a really nice medium to work with, but you really want to be careful when you're working with it. Now, you need to leave the epoxy to sit and to cure for at least a couple hours or at least a day. My bathroom is kind of humid, so it took a day the first time, but then I had the bubbles, so I had to go back in and sand it down. And then when I went in the second time and I did the second pour, it took 2 days at the very least before it wasn't really sticky and tacky anymore. So depending on the temperature in your bathroom and the atmosphere in your bathroom, you'll end up with, you can figure out the time for your epoxy to dry. So remember, it's really, really sticky to get resin on your hands. So you want to use some oils, some body oils. I was using my body oil to just get rid of the paint and the epoxy and all this good stuff. Overall, I am pleased with the outcome of the vanity, even though I had so many mishaps happen. And I know I'm gonna go back in, and I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna sand it down a little bit more and do a different cover, different top coat, and do the veins again, because we had a lot of debris that fell into it when I was changing the light fixture. So if there's one main tip I would give, if you're working with epoxy, do everything before you do it, and make sure you have a way to cover it so that nothing can fall into it and nothing can upset the pristine, beautiful look. Like I said, overall I'm happy with the outcome, and I know what to do now, so I feel more confident to go in and try it on a bigger surface. So I'm excited to try that. And I did have quite a bit of fun working with it. I was really excited to see the marble, how it would drain, how it would turn out, and all this other stuff. So I really had a good time, working with it. But there were too many mistakes that I would personally like to rectify the next time I do it. Now, I want to talk about the second epoxy project, which was the bathtub. Now, this wasn't the first time that I repainted my tub. I did repaint the tub in 2019 when we first moved here, and I used the Rust-Oleum tub and tile kit at the time. It was like a paint brush with a bucket of paint and another resin, I think, was there. But that was really nice. When I used it, I really enjoyed it. It's only a few areas were bubbling and starting to look kind of like it was about to strip, and I kept that for up to 3 years. So this time around, I was looking for the Rust-Oleum epoxy appliance spray, which is something I see a lot of people using on the internet, but I could not find it in my local store. So I ended up buying an all-purpose spray paint that seemed to be comparable, and the owner was saying yes, it would work. But when I started spraying the tub, I cleaned it, I really cleaned it. I dried it out. I got rid of the moldy caulking, and I taped everything up, wiped it down with bleach again, just to really get the cleanest possible base to start with. And by the time I was done, it looked like faded marble. I didn't like the way it looked. Maybe it was my technique. Maybe I was going crisscross and I was supposed to be going in one direction. And I did have the face mask on, like I was covering my nose and mouth because I'm asthmatic and I don't like to breathe in the fumes. But I didn't have goggles that first time, and my eyeballs were milky white. I could not see. So the second time around, after I ordered the paint, because I said, you know what, I don't like the way the first spray was looking. I wanted to get the Rust-Oleum and see if it would be a better quality. And so I got goggles this time around, and I sprayed almost the entire can. After 2 days, I had to wait for 2 days for it to come in. In the meantime, we were testing out the tub, making sure that, it was working, it wasn't bubbling, and things were working, and they were cured. And the first spray held up, nothing washed off. It just pretty much looked the same, a little bit brighter, but not much. So when the Rust-Oleum came, and I spray painted the second time, I made sure that I had the goggles on. I will say that the second time around, when I sprayed the Rust-Oleum appliance spray, I don't find that it looked a lot better. It looked cleaner, but not brighter. Like, I wanted it to be really shiny and gleaming, and I wanted it to stand out to be like a little bit more porcelain looking, but it was just kind of raggedy. So that was what I did with the bathtub. After I sprayed it, I went in and I caulked it all the way around, and then I went in with these grout pens. Now, I read all the reviews, and this one was a 4-star, and I got 5 pens in the package, and I have a small tub surround. It's not that big. And so at first I wasn't sure, because the instructions were in German or something. I wasn't sure if I was supposed to change out the tips or if I was supposed to. But as we were playing around with it, I find the really fine tip one is the best one to get into the grout, the size grout that I have, and to allow the grout to fill up. Now, I found that these pens were, I don't know, I liked them. They were okay. They were just meh. I think they cleaned up the grout some, but I feel like I was throwing out a lot of product, because you couldn't tell when it was empty, and also the tips were fraying out really, really fast. And even though each pen came with 2 tips, it really was taking me a lot of effort to get into the grout, so the tips were fraying really, really fast. Next time I'm gonna try a different grout cleaning product, or even just get a new grout. That was the tub. That's what I did for the tub. I also, here is another thing that I did. I wanted to change my faucets and like a lot of the hardware in the bathroom, and I didn't want to spend a lot of money to buy all new chrome or black kind of equipment, or what do you call these things, like decor. So I wanted to spray paint my faucets and change out the hardware, and so I grabbed some flat black spray paint, and I sprayed the faucets and the towel rack and all those things that I wanted to change. And then I changed the cupboard door handles, and I wanted to change out the medicine cabinet. It was an old, dingy, weird looking thing, the window in the bathroom, so it gets a little bit dark, as there's the light availability is just sparse. But I've had a succulent in the bathroom for the last 3 years, and it's been completely alive, even though it's been completely neglected. I'm not even joking. Like, it's only been living off of the humidity and whatever moisture comes from in the air. So, and it's been living. So I figured, you know what, let me bring in some more plants that can live in the low lights kind of situation. And I added in a little clamp lamp. I'm not sure what you call those. I carried one in so that the plants at the top and at the bottom could get some light. And I also really enjoyed doing this cool little some of the little trinkets that I hang up, like the art project that I did with the epoxy. Again, I wanted to play with it. I wanted to see how it would react to spray paint. So instead of adding in regular paint, I spray painted it. I added in some spray paint, and I also went in and added some spray paint onto the actual paper that I was painting on. And I love how it gives that feel of like granite, and it has almost like the spray paint is separating. It gives it a nice kind of really cute. I like it a lot. Okay, so if you get some spray paint on the tub, if you've got the smooth tiles, the steel wool will take it off easily. If not, you're gonna just have to paint over the areas with your base color, whether it's white or whatever you have on the wall. To finish off the project, I just painted the vanity doors a kind of medium gray, and I changed the hardware to a more modern shape and a black to match with the rest of the fixtures. And I did paint the bathroom walls bright white, and I added in a little bit of blue and yellows to some wood feeling, some plants to give it more of a bohemian kind of feel, because that's the look I like. So the plants, I find, give it a cozy feel. You know, it used to be stark and empty in here, and the colors add a little bit of hominess. I find I like how they work together. So the last day today, I had a deadline. You know, school's gonna start on Monday, and I had this whole jam-packed weekend. I had Canada Day coming up, which, by the way, if you are Canadian or you celebrate Canada Day, happy belated Canada Day. I hope you had a great one. So I was rushing to get this done and get a finished kind of look so that I could put the video together, and I'm pleased. Now, because I was such a messy kind of DIY person, I ended up having to scrape up a lot of paint and epoxy off the floor, and I ended up leaving a few nicks from the sharp blade that I was using. And I find that the sink looked kind of scraped up, like, because I had to steel wool it so much, I had to scrub it and scrape on it and stuff. So I'm gonna repaint that face basin or the sink, just so that it will look a little bit shinier, a little bit like it matches with the sink. So when I do the vanity again, when I sand it and do it again, I'm gonna spray paint the sink. And so I really love the epoxy, the look, the way to work with it and everything. So I feel confident, like I can do the counter downstairs, the kitchen counter. That's a whole lot more space, and so I'm excited and I'm looking forward to that. So have I said everything? So that is pretty much the video. I did change the light fixtures. As you'll see, it matches the one that I tried in my bedroom. And to be honest, by the time I got to the light fixture, I was done. I was over the project and just counting down what task I had left. You know, do you ever do that where you're just so excited for a project and then by the end you're just like, okay, God, let it be over, just let it be over. I do that all the time. And I'm finding that I'm having to take more and more breaks, and you know, like backache, and I tell you, aging is just for the damn birds thing. That just, it looked bad. So we took that off, and I found a mirror at the Salvation Army. It was a pretty little mirror with flowers around the edges, but it didn't match my decor, so I wanted to spray paint that as well. So I sanded off the flowers and then taped it up and sprayed the mirror. Now, one thing I didn't do was I did not measure the space between the light and the mirror, and I just was eyeballing this mirror and saying, it will fit, it will fit. I wanted it to go vertical, but I ended up having to turn it the other way, and luckily it fit, because I don't know what I would have done, because I already got rid of the medicine cabinet. Woo! So there you go. Another tip is to make sure that when you are spray painting things, you put a lot of paper to cover a big area, but also make sure that you're peeling off the paper and the tape before the paint dries, because again, you're going to get chips or you're going to peel off the paint. The spray paint, when we tested the tub, it stayed on better than I expected, except for one area where I had to tape to spray the tub again, and that area I think the tape peeled off the spray paint. So what else did I do? Oh, next time I'll try also degreasing the grout and see if that will help for the pen to stick a little bit more time, or stick a little bit better. When I was doing the light fixtures, because I did the vanity, I got really excited and I did the vanity way too early in the project, and so the first pour I had a lot of air bubbles in it, and so I wanted to try it out again. So I went and tried it on my desk. I have one of those kind of standing desks where you can, you know, separate the two parts, and so I went in and I tried it on the desk, but I forgot to do the veins. So I didn't even, like, the desk looks great, but it has no veins, so there's that. So I wanted to try it again, so I came back upstairs. I did it a second time, and when I did it the second time, I realized that I was supposed to put the veins in right away, so I did that, and it was spectacular. I was so excited. And then the next day it didn't dry, so it took, like, it was a day and a half in. I was running out of time, and so I decided to do the light fixture, not thinking about the dust behind a light fixture that's been sitting up there for so many years. When the dust started falling into the sticky, tacky, freaking epoxy vanity, I felt like I was gonna lose my mind. I was just like, why? I literally sat there and picked out pieces of debris for hours on end with a fucking tweezer. Stress. So yeah, don't do that. Do all the things you need to do on the wall: the painting, the vents, clean the vents, change the light fixtures, do everything that you need to do, and do the vanity last. I promise you, your life will be much easier. So I wanted to put a curtain, a high curtain, to soften up the bathroom. You know, there's a lot of men here and I'm the only girl, and a lot of times I just defer to their style and just leave things a little bit minimalist or a little bit masculine. But I kind of wanted to soften up the bathroom a little bit because it was looking just a little harsh, a little dark, and so I found the curtain and the little tie. Oh, can I tell you about this little tie? So I wanted to tie back the curtains, and I had just these gray pieces of these ties, but I wanted something cute. You know, like I said, I wanted the bathroom to be a little bit, you know, spruced up. So I didn't have any needles. So I got an earring. Right now what you're looking at is an earring with the tassels, with a button and a fake flower. Your girl out here, and I made me a tassel tie back, and I really love it. I think it's really cute. Otherwise, I added in some plants, and that was the project. The process was simple, but it just took a long time. Plus I had to lie down in between the project because I had the whole muscle spasm was just kicking my butt, so there was that. So like I said, you know, do the epoxy last, especially if you're doing a vanity that's going to be out in the open. The spray paint on the tap and the faucets, I would say I would recommend that. It makes the place look so much brighter. Just make sure that you tape really well, because then you're gonna end up with the spray paint everywhere, and then you have to scrape it off. I know this from experience. So that is pretty much what the bathroom makeover was. That's what I did. Over time, I think I will do the peel and stake floor. You know, I want to change the color. I think I want some slate looking kind of tiles, and then I will do a backsplash in time. I hope that you enjoyed my bathroom makeover. Like I said, I am not a pro. I am just watching videos and trying my hands at things. Some of them will be successful, other things not so much. I really enjoyed working with epoxy, and I'm going to do the kitchen counters because I really like the look and feel of it. I would do a lot of things differently, as I mentioned in the video. Second video will be coming out where I go into detail as to how I did the epoxy, the mistakes that I made, and all the different things that I would do differently. So look out for that video next week. I start school next week as well, so I'm going to be super busy. So hopefully I can get these videos out to you guys as fast as I've been doing. And so with all that said, I hope that you guys found this content interesting, informative, and inspiring, and that you too will try out some bathroom makeovers or a few little upgrades to your home. A few little upgrades to your home. That is pretty much the video this week, guys. I will be back next week with the epoxy video, or maybe a spa video or something. I'm not sure, or maybe a good update. I will keep you guys posted. That's pretty much the video today. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will talk to you guys next week. As usual, be safe, be blessed, be good, but at the very least, be balanced, loved, and happy.
The luxury breathing, but I don't think I'm living. Yeah, my mama be tripping, saying you